Ben Simmons finally makes his debut as a Brooklyn Net, and it was okay. I mean, it's a preseason game, so you don't want to take a lot out of it. Most teams aren't even putting their starters out there. If you look at the Nets, they did end up having most of their core people play. I mean, Kevin Durant had 20 minutes, Kyrie Irving had about 20, Ben Simmons had about 20, but then also, Day'Ron Sharpe had 20, Cam Thomas had 18. Guys that aren't going to have quite as big of a role as they will in the regular season got a lot of minutes and a very good opportunity for them to improve. But I think this game was very, very much anticipated, mostly because it was the Nets versus the 76ers. We haven't seen Ben Simmons on a court since the playoffs 2 years ago. In 2021, he hasn't played basketball since that moment. And we all know the situation. Ben Simmons, he got a lot of hate from Philadelphia fans. There was just not a good relationship there. Very toxic on both sides. And I'm kind of in the middle. I kind of can see how Philadelphia fans felt, and I can also see why Ben Simmons wanted out of Philadelphia just because of how much hate he got. And I don't think people truly always appreciate how good of a player he can be. He has his moments where he's, is just completely useless. He looks like he's going to be just a very, very bad NBA player because, his offensive inconsistencies, his, lack of motivation. But then he also has his moments where he has great, great triple-doubles. He has amazing performances. And I think those greatly outweigh the idea that he is a less than good or a below average NBA player. This guy is one of the best defenders in the NBA when he's healthy. He's an amazing playmaker. He's a great rebounder. And offensively, he does enough. Just because he can't shoot, we've had plenty of players that can't shoot and they end up being good. Ben Simmons isn't bad just because he can't shoot. Now, while I do think about that a lot, I kind of was disappointed that this game did not take place in Philadelphia. They missed a very big opportunity there. It was actually in Brooklyn. I was hoping it was going to be a 76ers home game. That would have been very, very fun to see how the crowd reacted to Ben Simmons playing. But at the end of the day, I mean, the Nets lost the game in the preseason. It doesn't really matter too much, but the 76ers really didn't start any of their starters. They had Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris are the only ones that are the only names that pop off to me as certified starters on this team. Maybe Matisse Thybulle, but he had 19 minutes and only 3 points and a rebound, so his role on that team very well might be diminishing if he does not make any improvements. But this is not a 76ers video. I want to talk about Ben Simmons and how he did in this game. He played about 19 minutes. He had 6 points, 5 rebounds, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. He had a couple of steals, I think, in a block or two, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't show it here, but I think I remember seeing that earlier in the morning. But at the end of the day, this is basically the exact stat line you'd expect out of Ben Simmons. He's not going to wow you offensively. He's not going to go out there and be the playmaker for your offense. He's not going to make it where, you can rely on him solely. But he can spread the ball around. He can be the ball handler in a very, very efficient offense. And when you've got guys like Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving or Joe Harris, who's an elite shooter when he wants to be, I mean, that's a different story for another day. But Joe Harris is an elite shooter at whenever he wants to be. Sometimes he just goes through spouts where he doesn't shoot the ball well at all. But then, you've got Cam Thomas, who in my opinion has a very high probability of being one of the best young scorers in the NBA. Everything else in his game really needs work, but offensively, he's really well-rounded. He's a very efficient guy. They've got pieces. Patty Mills can shoot the three. They've got all these pieces, and they don't really need Ben Simmons to be that guy. They don't need him to be an offensive juggernaut. That's something that Philadelphia did need him to be. I mean, Joel Embiid was there and Tobias Harris. Joel Embiid is obviously an MVP candidate. Tobias Harris is about 18 to 19 points per game, maybe a little less, maybe a little more if you get him on a really good season. And they needed Ben Simmons to be that second offensive scorer. Now, while I think he can do that, possibly, I don't think that's the right role for him. That would be almost like the Warriors asking Draymond Green to be that second scorer or that main guy after Steph Curry is off the floor or after Steph Curry's not handling the ball. Just not a good idea to run your offense through a guy like Draymond Green. And if you're the 76ers, probably not a good idea to run your offense through a guy like Ben Simmons. Yes, he can play make. Yes, he can ball handle, but you don't want him, trying to create plays, trying to create shots more specifically and that's just something that's not in his repertoire or something that he does very well. At the end of the day, though, I mean, I think he's going to have a good season. Maybe the Nets make the playoffs again. It's going to be a difficult year for Brooklyn. You know, they've got a lot of controversy going around. Kyrie Irving is, who knows what's going to happen with him, but he's an elite point guard when he's playing. Kevin Durant, obviously one of the best, if not the best scorers in NBA history. A lot of his game revolves around that mid-range and three-point line, and he is just a very efficient, very, very lethal guy when you let him get to his spot. The Nets have a good team. You know, they've increased their depth. They've got guys like TJ Warren, Royce O'Neal, Cam Thomas looks pretty good. Yuta Wannabe, I mean, who's he going to get dunked on by this year? We really don't know. Patty Mills is there as well. They've got depth. They really need to address that center position with Nick Claxton, in my opinion. You know, he looks like he can be good, but not good enough to be the starting center on a finals team. I was about to say on a Super Bowl team. I don't know why I'm thinking about the Super Bowl. But, yeah, he looks like he'll be a good center, but not good enough to be a finals contending starting center. So maybe that's probably, at the end of the day, what holds them back. But I think Ben Simmons is going to have a good spot in Brooklyn. They've got scorers around him. He's going to help improve that team defense. He's a defensive leader above all else, and he's just going to be a great glue guy for the Brooklyn Nets. So at the end of the day, that's just a positive thing if you want a good player like Ben Simmons on your team. How do you feel about the Nets this year? How do you feel about Ben Simmons? Go ahead and comment down below what your thoughts are about this situation. It was great to see him finally back on the floor, but I'm still a little skeptical, but I'm a big believer in Ben Simmons, especially more so than a lot of other people would be. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Hit the like button and subscribe if you did. Turn on post notifications too so you never miss a video. See you guys next time. Peace.